What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's get started. First of all, congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. They win the national championship for the second time in their program's history. Kudos to Dusty May. If you said Dusty May was the best coach in college basketball, I would not have too much of a counter argument. I think he deserves to be in that conversation, at least one of the best five. When I think of the best coach for modern college basketball, I think of Dusty May. He's just perfect for this version of college basketball with NIL on the portal. He's just, the perfect mix of, where it's player friendly, but still holds guys accountable, get the best out of guys, how he manages the portal and the NIL budget that he has. He's just the perfect coach for the modern day college basketball. He's done a great job at Michigan. Obviously comes over a couple of years ago for taking FAU to the Final Four as a 9 seed. He's done an outstanding job, and he is now a national champion. And some more college basketball stuff. UNC has found a coach, Mike Malone, former NBA champion, as a head coach with the Denver Nuggets a couple of years ago. Obviously, was let go very late in the year last year by the Denver Nuggets. Was doing television most recently. He is now the new coach of the University of North Carolina. So they went after some big fish within college. They went after Tommy Lloyd, the coach of Arizona. Of course, he has Arizona as a top team in the tournament pretty much every year. They were a 1 seed this year. They go to the Final Four. He ends up getting an extension from Arizona. 5-year deal. He'll make $7.2 million a season. Apparently, UNC offered him more, but he wanted to stay at Arizona. It is a significant raise from what he was making last year. He made 5.2 million last year. He'll make 7.2 million or so on this new extension with Arizona. There's a couple other I think of like his staff. Yeah, his staff pool was going to get a huge bump and incentives as well. So I guess that gives him more money to spend on his coaching staff, so he can hypothetically bring in a better coaching staff around them because they'll be able to make more money. They also got some contract structures as well. He's no longer going to report to the athletic director, so he got more freedom. So that tells me he was probably considering leaving. So they gave him a pretty significant raise on the 5-year deal. And they gave his staff a raise as well, and he's no longer has to report to the athletic director anymore. The UNC also went up to the O to Alabama. He's another really good college basketball coach. Alabama is a top team every year. Alabama, I think this year was a 4 seed. I think they were in the Elite Eight or Sweet 16. They were a high seed this year. He got a 5-year extension as well, or something like that. He makes him one of the 5 highest paid coaches in all of college basketball. They tried going up for Dusty May in Michigan. Well, he just won the national championship. He declined. He said he wanted to stay at Michigan, and so they ended up going with Mike Malone. This is gonna be interesting. So Malone's a good NBA coach. Like I said, he was in Denver for a while. I thought he did a good job. I think he's a good coach. Obviously, won a championship a couple years ago in Denver with the Denver Nuggets. He's does a pretty good job of getting the most out of guys. He's should be relatively successful in terms of player development. I think we'll be able to send guys to the league consistently. Obviously, we're gonna have to see how he adjusts to using the transfer portal. That is a huge piece of college basketball and college sports in general. He's never done it. I think he can make a seamless transition there. Him having the NBA success that he's had will definitely be attractive to incoming recruits and transfers. It Him coaching at UNC just in this school in general has sent so many players to the league, including Michael Jordan and James Worthy. Of course, Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. James Worthy is one of the 30-ish greatest players of all time. Was on those Lakers teams with Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They were on the same team actually, which is kind of crazy. So they send guys to the league every year. So I think he should be able to make a transition. However, he is. I think he's in this is like 51 years old. He's the same age as Dan Hurley is now, and Dan Hurley's been a coach for a little while. He's been at UConn for what, at least 5 or 6 years, if not a little bit longer. He was a coach a little bit before he got to UConn as well. So, and this is like Malone's first, big time college job. So, and this takes a lot out of, it's a real grind as a college head coach. It's, 3 to 65 days a year, between coaching, preparing for the games, coaching the actual games, the tournaments, and just recruiting year round. It's a lot. So it's easier for a guy who's just getting into it, being a younger guy, than being a guy who's, in his 50s like Mike Malone. You see a lot of, great coaches have stepped away in recent years. Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K with Duke retired a few years ago. Roy Williams of UNC retired 5 years ago. Who's the coach at Miami? Who's coach of Miami for all the years? Baragnan, whatever his name is, he retired a couple of years ago. Jay Wright, Villanova a bunch of years ago. Like a lot of guys have retired because like the grind just really got to them. It just really, really got to these guys. So Malone stepping in at his age will take a toll on him and shorten his stint there. I don't know. I'm not sure if he took this because of the money. He didn't think he'd get an NBA job, because I would think he would have been the top candidate for an NBA head coach job. But I think there'll be a couple of openings. I heard the Pelicans want to hire him. Of course, they fired Willie Green very early on in the season. James Borrego's the interim coach right now. Obviously, he's off the board for them now. He's their top choice. But I would think somebody would have probably hired him. Maybe he didn't think the opportunity would come around. I don't know. But he is the coach of the University of North Carolina. NBA standings, we are in the very home stretch of the regular season, last week of the regular season. In the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons have locked up the one seed. Kudos to them for continuing to play some really solid basketball even without Cade Cunningham. Apparently, Cade may come back before the end of the regular season. They have 3 games left. He may be able to play in one of those. So it looks like he will be healthy for the postseason. I'm not sure what version of him they'll get. Obviously, the best version of him is one of the best players in basketball. Should be first team All NBA, but also they should get him at some point. Either the very, very end of the regular season, or possibly, looks to have him at some point in the first round of the playoffs. So I do think they should probably ease him back. I mean, if they're going to play, I mean, they should be able to win that first series against whoever it is, Orlando or Charlotte, whoever that ends up being. So maybe you even sit him out through game one of the playoffs, and if you lose, you put him out there in game two. Who knows? But Boston is the 2 seed. Look, that's where they'll be. They're 2.5 games ahead, and next for the 3 seed. All three of those teams have clinched the playoff spot. The Cavs have also clinched the top 6 spot. They're only a game behind the next one now for the 3 seed. 4 games to go for both those teams. Atlanta is the 5 seed. Looks like that's where they will be. They're a game and a half ahead of Toronto, who's the 6th seed right now. Philadelphia losing to San Antonio last night drops into the first play-in spot. They're in a 3-way tie for the first 3 play-in spots with them, Charlotte, and Orlando. Right now, it's season end today. Be Philadelphia is the 7, Charlotte is the 8, Orlando is the 9, and Miami is the 10 seed. They have been playing great. They'll probably be in that rate in that spot. They're a game and a half out of the first play-in spot, out of the 3-way tie, but right now they are the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. The season were to end today. The Knicks would host Toronto. The Cavs would host the Hawks. And then the play-in, Philadelphia would play Charlotte. If the winner of that would play Boston in the first round, and the loser of that would put the winner over Orlando and Miami. And the winner of that game would play Detroit in the first round. Heading to the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder uh, have the 1 seed almost completely locked up, 2.5 games up on the Spurs. They have 4 games left. Spurs have 3 games left. Wembanyama came out of the game against Philadelphia last night with a rib contusion. I was watching him get up this morning. They had Iman Shumpert on. He said he probably won't really affect him like 2 weeks from now, by the end of the first round of the playoffs. But he will have to probably, play through it and deal with it throughout the postseason. We'll see where that goes. I wouldn't even play in the rest of the regular season. I don't think there's a point. I'd be not much of a chance to get the 1 seed. You're locked into the 2. How that first round playoff series should be very easy. The back half of the Eastern Conference bracket, the difference between the East and the West. The top of the West is much better than the top of the East. Like the 3 seed in the West is Denver. Like if they played Boston in a 7-game series, Denver would probably win that series. But the back half of the Eastern Conference bracket is better than the Western Conference. Like the ninth right now is Orlando. They're at least a gritty team that plays a lot of defense and give a team a test. In the West, the ninth is Portland. And kudos to them for being relevant after Chauncey Billups got arrested middle of the season, but they're not beating anybody. But Lakers are dropped to the fourth seed, lost their last couple. Obviously, no Luka Doncic, no Austin Reeves for now. They're both hurt. We already knew about Luka. Reeves is just got hurt. Great to up league trend, going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. So if I had to guess, it's probably through the first round of the postseason or so, at least. The five seed is Houston, who has a potential playoff spot as well. They're only a game out of the four seed and a game and a half out of the three seed. They've won six in a row. Minnesota right now is the six seed. That's probably where they're going to be. Phoenix is the first playing team right now. That's where they should be. Clippers are the eight seed right now, but Portland's been playing very well. They're only a half game behind the Clippers for the eight seed. Right now they're a nine, and Golden State is all but locked in, just about to the 10th of their last playing spot in the Western Conference. In how the playoff series look like right now, we're in Western Conference right now. This is end today. Again, we still have this week, so a lot of seedings up for grabs in both conferences, especially in the West and even in the East in the back half of the conference. Denver would play Minnesota. The Lakers would host Houston. In the play-in, Phoenix would host the Clippers. Winner of that plays the Spurs in the first round. The loser of that plays the winner of Portland and Golden State. And the winner of that would play Oklahoma City in the first round. And we have a regime change in the NBA. The Chicago Bulls uh, have fired their vice president of basketball operations, Arturas Karnisovas, and general manager Mark Eversley after 6 seasons. This needs to happen. They are not. No, they did not do a good job at all. They were in Chicago for 6 seasons, and they had one playoff win, not one playoff series win. They won one playoff individual game over 6 seasons. They are a complete mess. They just, giving Zach LaVine that big contract, you end up trading him for basically Trey Jones and no first round picks. DeMar DeRozan you traded for nothing. Nikola Vucevic you traded for Anthony Simons in a second. Alex Caruso, you got Josh Giddey out of a deal, which is good, but you got no first round picks for any of those guys. You brought in Jaden Ivey, played him for a few games, benched him, and then waived him when he just lost his mind on social media. You went in, you traded Isaac Sumnu for Rob Dillingham, which didn't make any sense, and it's just been a complete and utter disaster. You took Patrick Williams with the fourth pick from the draft. He's been a massive bust so far. Even Matas Buzelis hasn't been great. You have too many guards, not sure where they're going, and there'll be a new regime coming in Chicago. And I mean, they still have Billy Donovan as their head coach. Apparently, they want to keep him. They'll look like he was going to seriously consider the UNC job before Malone took it once the bowl season ended. I believe it ends this Sunday. So I'm not sure how committed he is to the Bulls, but apparently the Reinsdorfs want to keep him. They're going to meet with him after the season. But they should move on. First of all, I think Billy Donovan is an overrated NBA coach. I think he's just an okay NBA head coach level. I think he's this really, good coach. Never good college coach in the NBA. I think he's an eh. That being said, this isn't all on him. That being said, organizations in all sports work better when you let your GMs pick their coaches. And if a GM's coming in there, a head basketball operations guy's coming into this team, to this organization that's had zero playoff success in the last 10 years, has not gotten to an NBA final since Michael Jordan retired, or, retired for the second time after the 1998 championship. And, has no direction right now. They don't even get to pick their coach. I'm not sure what GM would even take my job, so I really think they should part ways with him, but apparently they do want to keep him, so we will see what happens on that front. And the NBA Hall of Fame was announced. We had Joey Crawford's going to be going in he's a long-term referee. He's going to be going in. Mark Few, the longtime coach of Gonzaga for the last 27 years, is going in. Doc Rivers is going in, long-term NBA head coach. More on that in a minute. Amari Stoudemire is going in, a long-time power forward in the NBA. Not long time, but he played up for a little while in the NBA as a power forward. Man for the Suns and the Knicks. A couple of women's players are going to be going in. The national team from 1996. Ella Delle Donne is going in. Shameik Holdsclaw is going in, as well as Candace Parker. And Mike D'Antoni is going in as a contributor. I get Mark Few. I mean, look, I can get they haven't gotten over the hump and won a championship, but they've been to the Final Four twice. He's been to the tournament 26 years in a row at 27 years, 773 career wins. He's Gonzaga before he took over was a complete joke. Now they're at least a powerhouse. They don't get done in March, but they are a powerhouse. Stoudemire, I mean, they put anybody in the Hall of Fame. This is ridiculous. Like he was a good player. Six-time All-Star, was Rookie of the Year in 2003. His first 8 years with the Suns, he averaged 21 and 8. His first year with the Knicks in 2000, I think in 11. No, yeah, he signed the Knicks in 2010. He was very good in that first season. He averaged something like 24 points a game, something like that. So he had some good seasons, played for 14 years. But you can see how he really fell off when he averaged 21 and 8 for 8 years in Phoenix. One year he averaged 25 in 2008. I think he averaged like 24 in his first with the Knicks. I think it was in 2010 or 2011. And he finished averaging just under 19 points a game and 7 rebounds. He fell off very quick. His knees really killed him at the end. His last bunch of years with the New York Knicks. I think he had 1 year in Miami, I think, or something like that, and then he retired. It was a big part of the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns era with Steve Nash in the 2000s. Had a nice career, much wish he got in the Hall of Fame. But he was a good player. Doc Rivers is the most overrated coach in NBA history. I think the numbers look pretty. He's been in NBA for 27 years, over 1,100 wins. He was in his first 5 seasons were in Orlando. He was in Boston for 10 years. He was in the Clippers for 8 years. He was in Philadelphia for a few years. Been in Milwaukee, but outside of 2018 with Boston, one of the greatest teams of all time. He said nothing. He blew lead after lead after lead in the playoffs with the Clippers. Did the same thing in Philadelphia. Did the same thing with the Clippers. And he's not even one of the playoffs in Milwaukee with Giannis. So I don't know how you let that guy into the Hall of Fame. But congratulations to the women's players that are going in. Congratulations to that national team that's going in. Kudos to Mike D'Antoni's going in as a contributor. But the Doc Rivers and Gloria Stoudemire, I'm not really sure what you're doing in Hall of Fame, especially Doc Rivers. Got a bit of a random sports dump for you guys and gals. The Jaguars extend Trayvon Walker 4 years, $110 million. This feels like an overpay. He did not have a good year last year. After back-to-back 10 sack seasons, 10 and a half in 2024, 10 exactly in 2023. Had just 3.5 sacks last year. He did miss 3 games. He was hurt a little bit last year, but 38 tackles is a career low. 3.5 sacks is a career low, matching what he had as a rookie when he was not very good. 2 pass defenses. And that's it. Like he's going to be 26 years old. He has 27.5 sacks in 4 years. He had 20.5 the previous 2 seasons before last year. He's a good player, but obviously they should have taken Aiden Hutchinson first overall back in 2022. That's always been the case. He's a good player. He's a good edge rusher. But this feels steep. I mean, my math is very bad, but I think that comes, what, $27.5 million? This seems like a little bit much. But he also got $77 million guaranteed. So maybe a little bit much. However, he is a good pass rusher when he's fully healthy. Jacksonville locks him down. Dexter Lawrence has requested a trade from the New York Giants. They've been trying to come up with a contract extension for the last 2 years, haven't able to do so. He's not reporting to their offseason stuff. He's requesting a trade. I'm not sure what his value is going to be. I think people need to realize was not good last year. He had a career low 31 tackles, a career low just half a sack. Outside of the 4 pass defenses, and he had his first career interception. He did not have a good year last year. Although, is it me? Every single time he talks to the media, he's very dismissive and honestly he doesn't care. I mean, I'd be frustrated too if I was a top player for the Giants for the last 7 years, but like he has been, he was 2-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. Like he's supposed to be a leader, and those aren't qualities of a leader, in my opinion. So he's gonna be 29. Wasn't good last year. He's not really looked at by our teams as like a few years ago. This guy was considered maybe the best defensive tackle in the entire NFL. This guy was a body mover. He really isn't that anymore. I don't think. I don't see him. I'm not sure if he'll really return to form. Maybe with John Harbaugh coming into town, some better coaching. Abdul Carter has a better year. Maybe Kayvon Thibodeau is healthy. Obviously, we know what Brian Burns is. Maybe he bounces back a little bit, but I've seen some of these like trade packages hypothetically. Teams even got first round picks, second round picks, like three mid round picks for the guy, players. Like I think if they like a third round pick is what he's worth at this point of his career. We'll see if they trade him. I mean, maybe you trade a second or a third rounder for him. You get up higher in the second round, you get another pick, earlier on day two to take his replacement, maybe. I'm not sure what they're planning on doing, but he has requested a trade from the New York Giants. Heading over to hockey, Buffalo Sabres clinched the playoffs. Good for them. The first playoff berth in 15 years since 2011, which means the New York Jets stand alone as the longest playoff drought in sports at 15 straight seasons. But kudos to the Buffalo Sabres. They're a very good team this year. They finally made their way back to the postseason. We have a coaching change in the NHL. The New York Islanders fired Patrick Waugh and hired Pete DeBoer. I don't understand it. I get the Islanders are struggling down the stretch here. They're trying to hang on to a playoff spot that they've been in all year. And Waugh, he's definitely flawed. The guy's a little crazy. Obviously was an all-time goalie as a player, but he did a good job this year. I was a very young team. You brought on a new head hockey operations guy in Matthew Darsh from Tampa, who did a good job over the last year or so. But to find a four-game nothing in the regular season, I don't get what the point is. Again, it's like same thing with the Vegas making the change with Bruce Cassidy. Just wait till the end of the year. Vegas was probably was even worse because they're solely in the playoffs. They're pretty safe. I don't know if they're as safe, but probably still going to get in. But the Islanders fire Wad. They're bringing Pete DeBoer. Look, Pete DeBoer is a good coach. He started in Florida. First 3 years wasn't great, but gets let go. I was with the Devils for 4 seasons. Took them to the Cup final in 2012. After 2.5 years of being not so great, gets fired midway through the 2015 season. Uh, Following year, retired by the Sharks, takes him to the Cup final in 2016. Four straight playoff berths. Also was in the conference finals with them in 2019. But in his fifth year there in 2020, gets off to a bad start, gets fired. Like a month later, gets hired by Vegas, takes him to back-to-back conference finals. 2022, injury-plagued year, costs Vegas a playoff spot. He gets fired. And then for the last 3 seasons, he was in Dallas with the three straight conference finals and got fired. That's just a tough break. Over 100 points every single season. So he takes over for the Islanders with a week left in the season, which is just crazy. But he's a very good coach. He's doing it a long time, but just absolutely wild. And then like the NHL replaces coaches mid-season like that. They'll fire their coach in the middle of the season, and then they'll simultaneously bring in some other has been. But this is just absolutely insane. We got the New Jersey Devils fire their GM Tom Fitzgerald. He's been there since 2020. He was named the interim GM in the midway through the season in 2020. He was promoted to executive vice president and general manager that off season. He's been the of hockey operations since January of 2024, and he was let go after 7 seasons with the New Jersey Devils. For baseball, a couple of injury notes, then we're going to head to the next segment. Mookie Betts is out 4 or 6 weeks with an oblique strain. Good news for the Dodgers, they're so stacked. Those are how healthy for the playoffs. He's not to a good start this year. Was only hitting 179 in his first 28 at bats. He did take a step back last year. Last year he hit 258, 20 homers, 82 RBIs, 732 OPS. So he is declining a little bit. He's now 33 years old, but still a great player. Going to the Hall of Fame one day, a big part of their success. And he's going to miss 4 or 6 weeks. And Juan Soto will miss 2 or 3 weeks for the Mets, the calf strain. I can't with the Mets. This happens to them every year. Thankfully, she'll be back in about 3 weeks, hopefully, and it's April and not August. That would have been even worse. Also, congratulations to Carlos Beltran, longtime Mets center fielder. He's going to have his number 15 retired. As a result, Tyrone Taylor's actually going to change his number, and Beltran's number will go into the rafters at Citi Field on September 19th. So I do want to talk some wrestling. I think it's part of something I have to say that's very important. I do want to recap Stand and Deliver from last weekend. all the horrible stuff going on in the main roster. NXT has done a pretty good job, and I thought Stand and Deliver was very successful. Started off with a 10-person mixed tag. It was Birthright, which is Charlie Dempsey, Lexis King, Stacks, Uriah Connors, and Ariana Grace against just a random thrown together babyface team. Hank and Tank, Shiloh Hill, EK Prosper joined for this, and Ren Sinclair. The babyfaces stood tall. Pretty good match. I would like to see the heels go over in this. I like where what Birthright's doing right now. I see a lot of potential in Lexus King. Obviously, I believe it's Brian Pillman's son, and Charlie Dempsey's William Regal's son. So obviously some potential there, but I would like to see the heel stand tall. We had a triple threat women's NXT Championship match. JC Jane versus Lola Vice versus Kendall Gray. Lola Vice picks up the win. She's the NXT Women's Champion. I think it was time for JC Jane to drop the NXT Women's Championship. I have to think you have a slew of call-ups coming right after WrestleMania this year. She should be one of them. She's put in her time. It's deserved. I would like to see Kendall Gray win, especially in her hometown. I think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity, but I think Lola Vice is very talented. And she does deserve this NXT championship. We had the NXT Tag Team Championship. Vanity Project against Los Americanos, Bravo and Rayo. Vanity Project pick up the win. Very good match. I thought you would have put it on the Los Americanos since they are hot on NXT, but you keep it with the Vanity Project. That's cool. There's a lot of on-top potential with them. Good match. Vanity Project retains. Soruka against Zarya. This was a decent match. Soruka winning. I really thought Zarya should have won this match. She really needed this win. I guess they're building Soul up to go after the NXT Championship. Maybe that's the plan going forward. But I really thought Zarya deserve this win. But although I think Heel Zarya, I think they could do something really special with Heel Zarya and actually get her onto the main roster. Now Hisoka should be on the main roster. She should already be there, to be honest. Miles Bourne against Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano found himself. Miles Bourne retains. Really good match. Was really awesome that Gargano came back. However, he doesn't bring back the Rebel Heart song, but that was a really good match. It was cool to see Gargano back on NXT and in his old form. But Miles Bourne retains the NXT North American Championship. He's doing some really good work. Miles Bourne. We have Tatum Paxley against Blake Monroe for the Women's North American Championship. Tatum Paxley retains. Solid match. Right decision. At this point, I would just send Blake to the main roster at this point. Maybe get our NXT Championship conversation, but Tatum Paxley definitely deserved to retain. She uses like a legit reign with that title. And a fatal four for the NXT Championship. Joe Hendry against Ricky Sainz against Ethan Page against Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo picks up the win in a very good match. Fends off Saints, Page, where times were working together, and Joe Hendry for the win. Right decision. That guy is awesome. He deserves everything. He's a Grand Slam champion at NXT. He is the absolute man, and Tony D'Angelo wins the NXT championship. Just want to say, I'm not even going to recap SmackDown from last week at Raw from last night. I don't even think it matters. Once Pat McAfee was forced into the Randy and Cody feud, no one likes it. Cody Rhodes, that was definitely a shoot promo on SmackDown last week. CM Punk cut a shoot on TKO on Raw. It's a complete joke. TKO is completely taken over. Triple H at this point is just a puppet for TKO and for Avery Emanuel and all those stupid stiffs in their stupid suits. This is the worst book WrestleMania of all time, and WWE, I'm afraid, is dead. And I don't know how much longer I can even watch this crap. But that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.